I don't have the time that I would love to be there to help that brother like he needs to be helped. The only thing I can do right now is trade what I get from my time and pass it to him through money. Only time I have now for that individual is the thing that I get paid for my time from 9 to 5 is to give him a hope. Hopefully that buys him a little more time. But if we had the time to sit there to care and talk to them, that's all we need. And what that action is love. What's the goal is justice. This place not a justice. This place not built on justice.
Not at all.
So it's not gonna give you the time to do that. Time, love, and justice.
These kind of relationships that get disturbed when we don't take the time to know what it is to sing, to know how to get close to the mic again, or to get something. Singing doesn't make it happen, or maybe.
Welcome
What's happening?
to another edition of Tune the Fork.
Yes, indeed.
I have with me father,
Yeah.
son,
Yeah.
creative,
Yeah.
business owner,
Community builder.
community builder. Dre Taylor, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing beautiful, brother. I'm doing wonderful. Yeah.
Glad you could come today, man. This is like symmetry, universe, aligning, and stars
All
and
that.
quasars.
All that.
Man, I feel like I've been knowing you forever, dog.
Exactly.
And this very, we didn't talk for 20 minutes before we came on, and
Yeah.
for some reason, the energy and the vibe just feel like, oh, we went to school together.
Hey, it's a spiritual journey.
It is, bro.
Spiritual journey. And so that's how it feels.
Now, what people know, people might not know your face
Right.
in the DC, DMV area, but they definitely know your brand, Honest Tees.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
That's the hope. That's the goal.
Now, Honest Tees is more than just a brand.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to use your words,
Okay, we will.
if I can,
Please do.
to
Yeah.
Honest Tees is not just an apparel brand.
No.
It's a creative outlet sending messages, seeking to connect with human beings, led by love, willing to fight for our freedom as one, through nurturing a community of justice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I feel when I look at your clothing, man, when I look at your branding. You're celebrating 15 years,
Yeah.
anniversary being, you know, in business and spreading your love.
Yep.
Talk a little bit, man, if you can, about what made you want to start it 15 years ago.
Okay. Thank you for that. That was thank you for that. Because you don't when you're in the day-to-day, you don't get that reflection. You get the reflection because you wear it. But would it, like for instance, it took 15 years to come to that statement. It took me 15 years to understand and express it that way. And that took several thought time to come up with it. Creative outlet is a necessity. And in 2008, you know, you do what you're supposed to do. Not bad, you know, you go to college, come out, get a job, work the job. The path of the journey has always been, I would always do whatever I needed to do, have a creative outlet, like, right? So, for instance, I went to see my mom last year, you know, so she can see her grandbaby and the wife. And she has like a kind of like a mural of stuff I've done because I'm a child of divorce, so she lived in Georgia. So her way of keeping contact with me was to put up, you know, the things I've done. And there's a poem I wrote in the 7th grade. And essentially it was about, I'm not sure who I was speaking to, but I was speaking to whomever who didn't recognize that I knew who I was as a black man in this space. And so it was about just youth rage, but understanding who I am and what you think I am and where there's disconnect there, but I'm not gonna bend to who you think I am. I know my trajectory. Again, did I sit down and think about it? No, but it just kind of like was an outlet.
7th grade.
7th grade, 7106 Jefferson Junior High School, DC Southwest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I remember that. Yeah. And so 2008, me and my homeboy Lee, we had done like, School of Beats was a thing. We did music production. And so that was a journey we took there. But I always wanted to do, not fashion, but just t-shirts.
Okay.
And in college, I used to make my own iron-ons with whatever design I wanted to put on it. It was called K2 Designs, because Karyatu is my middle name. So it's K2 Designs, and then they would just put images. It would be like the Boondocks cartoons or Holly Berry or Ray Charles. It'd be anything that I just wanted to express. Plus, that was during the white tee era.
Okay.
And folks from Philly at Howard was wearing white tees. And I was like, nah, I'm not really gonna just wear white tee, especially a 3X long white tee. It's just not gonna fit me. So t-shirts was always a thing as a way of communicating thoughts. And I wanted to do a brand called Half-Ass Tees. Half-Ass Tees was gonna be like a joke for half the price, because that was big. Before we knew the concept of a meme, a lot of t-shirt companies were just making joke shirts and, But I read an article in the Washington Post Express at the time of a young guy who had done a t-shirt company. I said, oh, wait, it's possible. Like, you didn't have to have this infrastructure to have a t-shirt company as I thought I did. Mm-hmm. And so I said, what would be true to me? And one of the major motifs of things growing up with my dad was honesty. And, obviously you have the talk, but you never know that it likes to talk directly, because you do it from when he started. I was so young. It was like, no, I need to be able to trust you. So if you get in a situation with the cops, they lock you up, and I walk down to the precinct, I could tell them, I could ask you, did you do it or not? And you tell me, no, I didn't. I could say, okay, I'm going to bat for him. Yeah. He didn't do it because he told me that. So honesty has always been one of my default modes. I'd rather just tell you up front than have to think about ways that it's not really in me to do that. Not on some pride thing, it's just kind of how I was groomed.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I remember coming into the office, and I was like, honest tees. Because honestly, the onus is on us. And it was like, that's what it is. Huh. It was like honest tees. I knew I wanted to throw away the H. I wanted to be on us, but I didn't want to pronounce it like that.
Yeah.
Like honest tees, because honestly, the onus is on us. And that's what it's been ever since. It's on us to make this change. Not saying at that moment 15 years ago before then I knew what the change would be, but something that's just innate. It's not really innate. We could talk about it more. It's really just when you understand your parents are just replicants, you're just replication of them.
Yeah.
It was a fusion of those two. Really what this is. It's the creativity of Joseph with the us organization growing up in Compton, California with my mom. Fighting for who you are in a creative fashion. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's fighting for who you are in a creative fashion.
Now you said that you're child of divorce. Mm-hmm. How old were you when your parents? 3.
Yeah.
So you don't remember them together at all?
I mean, not directly. No, not what I have it through photos.
Got you.
Yeah. But not like I remember like them holding hands and I don't have that.
Did you go with your pops?
Pops stayed. And it was intentional though. I don't think she'll mind at all because that's the journey. My mom's intent was not to leave me, but my father would be the best steward of this boy's life, because her thing was stability. She grew up having to move several times, different schools, and I don't know what that experience is due to her determination. Apparently it's very impactful to when you have your first child, you're like, nah, he's not having my life. So I'm not gonna be fighting back and forth, no. He'll stay here. We already lined up the elementary school and junior high, and I think maybe high school was already planned out in that moment, right? So from her, it was he's a great father. I know what you'll get with him being the dominant figure in your life in terms of time. But that was her decision because she didn't want me to be new group of friends, knew who, hey, I'm Andre again in different schools and settings. So yeah, that was so I stayed with my dad. My dad was the quote unquote, as he would say, the single father, at least for a strong 5 to 7 years. And then he met my, what they call stepmother, I call my other mother, another mother, not another, the other, my other mother. But yeah, that's how it was, yeah.
That's different than most of the situation, because most of the guys I know, myself included, I was with my mom.
Right.
Everybody went with their mom.
Yeah.
But your mom was like on some Boys in the Hood,
exactly.
Angela Bassett situation.
Yeah.
That
she kept me safe doing that.
Yeah.
Like I know that now as a grown up.
Because she was in Compton.
No, she was like, no, she grew up in Compton.
Okay, gotcha.
My parents met in Houston, then moved to DC, that's where my dad's from.
Okay.
Now she went to Georgia, because that's where she had her close social structure was there.
Gotcha.
But no, I just thought I had a superhero.
For your dad?
Yeah, he just made him a superhero. And not like with any intent, like, oh, now it was just kind of like, I knew that my friends mostly, if they had a single family home, was likely with the mother, or they had a 2-parent structure, but no one really had a single father that was the one picking you up, dropping you off, getting you fed, clothing you, you know. So to me, it was like, oh yeah, I know I got a badass, you know. I got someone who's different, but the beautiful thing, or the irony, whatever the word is that his example came from a lack of an example. He didn't have a father. So his thing was, I gotta be there. And so his biggest message to me as a parent now is just to be there. And because you're there, you can solve the problems, you can address the problems. But if you ain't there, you can't. So, you know, I can hear him now. It ain't hard. Just gotta be there. You know what I'm saying? It is like, and you don't know why you keep saying it when you're younger. You know what I'm saying? Like, honesty. Why I gotta be able to trust you. You just say, okay, I gotta be able to trust you. I get it. And it just comes to fruition, right? And so you don't know until you have, or do you have a better understanding of reality, really, why they do certain things and why things are. So I appreciate all 3 of my parents.
Yeah.
You know, I applaud my mom for having the will to sacrifice in that capacity. Like when she wasn't there, like I would see her in the summertime.
Understood.
And, yeah. So we were still there, and they had a good bond in terms of, I didn't see no bullshit. I've never seen BS between my parents. Whatever they had before to allow it, obviously had to be something. Yeah. But they never, you know, wasn't one talking to me like, hey, about the other, nope, never. They always kept it peaceful, PC, do the handoff. You know, we used to meet in Greensboro during the handoff. No issues. So bro, like my life is based off the intention, like the intent of others. Like, I mean, most of it was like, but there's no happenstance. It was, okay, what's the best for this child? And they led, and based on what I received, like I said, my mom's willingness to sacrifice and the love she gave me, my dad being the one like, yeah, no, I'm not, he's set, he's in a stable condition, let's go. And then to have the blessing of another human to come in as the mother figure and we keep it rolling. Like, it was no like, I don't like her shit. Nah, I was just like, okay, that's cool. You know, it took me a minute to get to start the courage to call her mom, but she was never not a mother figure. Yeah, because I just didn't know how she wanted, and I didn't know how I wanted to express it because I want to pay respect to my mother. But when you realize, so I'm gonna be all over the place. But that's part of the reason why we do this fight, because that concept is not our concept. We come from villages. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So what they were doing was just African. Yeah. But when you contrast it against the perfect, you know, the triangle of mother, father, child supposed to be, this is a village endeavor, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so what I didn't know I was observing and experiencing is being raised by a village. And you were getting these, I imagined that you were getting these principles demonstrated through action. Yes. And not just words. Exactly. Like there were these people putting these emotions, putting these egos to the side with the intention of doing what's best for you as the child. 100%. That's dope. 100%. And for me, what makes, for me, my perspective of my dad is that his words, his actions, they hand in hand. Like he's not gonna tell you something to do something different. It's hand in hand. Like you might not like it, but he told you, and he told you why. He won't give you too many reasons why. He may give you 3, max. But no, this is my intent. Was your father like a loving dad, or was he like a stern dude? And when I say loving, I mean like, okay. I know what you mean. Like he's not as loving as I am to my child. Okay. But he wasn't like, I knew he loved me. Got you. You know what I'm saying? Because he was there. Yeah. And he expressed it, he communicated why. But he grew up without a father. He grew up in the 50s and the 60s. Yeah. So, he grew up in welfare. You know what I'm saying? So he grew up in a survival mode, in my opinion. And he chose his path, and he saw this goal, and he went there, he pursued it. But not like I am for my daughter, but it's not, I don't feel like I was lacking. Definitely don't. You know what I'm saying? You definitely express like I love you, that type of stuff. Hug, kisses, things like that nature. That was never foreign. Was he stern? He was, like you said, it was based on honesty, based on integrity. right? You know, you always supposed to be. And I pretty much, for one instance that I can remember, did essentially what he said. Because again, I'm at 3 and he's the only person in the household. So it's whatever he wants to do, because it's whatever he wants to do. There's no, well, maybe my mom would have said something differently or done it differently, so I didn't have any contrast. Like, oh yeah, my dad said do, cool, because it worked out. Like he said, I think he took it, actually I think he took this quote from my mom's mom, my grandma Jimmy Lee. But if I tell you a flea can pull a plow, hook it up. I didn't know what the fuck that meant, you know what I'm saying? But I just meant, I knew it meant, the energy was, if I said it's gonna work, it's gonna work. But I didn't know if a flea can pull a plow, hook it up, and then later on I hear my mom say, like, where you get it from? Oh, that's Jimmy Lee. Oh, God, he got that from, you know, his mother-in-law at the time. But yeah, that was kind of like, that was the energy. If I tell you a flea can pull a plow, hook it up. I didn't know, I didn't even know what the elements were in that, you know, growing up. I didn't know the size of a flea or the heaviness of a plow and what we were hooking it up for. I just knew that if I say it's gonna work, it's gonna work.
Did that kind of tenacity and mindset help with starting the company and pushing through and all of that?
Yeah, because it's through his actions, right? Like, I don't know not doing it. I don't know not doing it. I don't know what having a burden of having a child and not doing it, right? I only know see it through, you know? That's all I know. So it wasn't, like even now in this space, it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing it, but it might be looking a little different. But it's not done, the job's not done. So that's kind of how he is. It's kind of like, you know, whatever it takes. You play the hand you dealt. Now I'm just saying all those quotes now. Play the hand you dealt. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 threes and a couple and a king and a queen. Make it work, you know? It was make it work. And that's from his upbringing, seeing his mom make it work. You know, no matter what it is, it's just, you know, sometimes it's not as you planned or intended, but it's what you have to deal with and you face it. So, like I said, honesty was just an outlet that needed to be done because I wanted to, that's what it was. I didn't see my reflection. I used to work at Urban Outfitters before I got my first quote unquote job, because I was trying to buy a condo anyway. But, so I'm going at Urban Outfitters and I like some shirts and I would buy stuff, but I never saw my reflection. And one of my favorite shirts was, I had 2 favorite shirts. One was, well 3 really. One was, I think it was like just a country club tennis. And I played tennis growing up. But it was a white guy, but it didn't really matter. It was the idea of playing tennis. So for me, it was like kind of like a play on that, because people would see me, maybe not recognize I actually played the sport I'm wearing. Another one was a beautiful silhouette of a young lady. She was white, but it was like you really couldn't tell, but I knew. I loved the shirt, loved what it was doing. And then the third one was We Be Illin', like a joke on hospitals and kids. It was like a joke shirt. But I liked each one, so like, but it wasn't my reflection. It wasn't how I would communicate. But I like the idea and the intent of it, but it wasn't necessarily I thought was from us, right? So I wanted to make shirts that represented us and spread a message that we can connect with.
Now as you're talking, I'm starting to understand like some of the things that I've seen and connecting some dots. Honesty is like the first word that you built the brand off of, which comes from like this, these tenets that were instilled in you through your pops and your community and your 2 mothers. And the next word is love, right?
Yeah.
And love is kind of like how I got introduced to the brand and something that I'm using now to kind of like propel my efforts moving forward. Talk about how you started implementing the concept of love in with the brand and using that, which I feel like now is to me synonymous with honest tees. To be 100.
And I appreciate the universe for that. The benefit of having multiple parents. So, like I said, the initial launch of Honest Tees was just ideas. I just had to get all these ideas out. Be first, raise your kids, talk about it, do better movement. Because I was young, that's what she said. The office is around, right? All these concepts. But then, my initial goal was for it to be a 70-30. 70% speaking to my people. If 30% of other buy it, I'm cool with that, right? I didn't want to be 100% one because I knew you couldn't do that in the capitalist society. But it came a time when like black on black love popped in my head, right? Just the necessity to again, nothing I'm doing is, I'm not saying like no, by no means. It's just, you pick up on it. I think that's something we should all be on the forefront. Because we all express it. Like this conversation right now is black on black love.
Yeah, for
this
sure.
This exchange is black on black love. Our upbringing is black on black love. The sacrifices that they've made before us is black on black love. I ain't saying, I'm not saying I coined it or anything, but I wanted to be a thought that we knew was there. So when we interact with each other, oh, I know how you feel about me. So if you wear the shirt, because that's why it's like, it's supposed to be a thought bubble. The design of black on black love has like little dots. It's like it's a thought bubble. So it's a constant awareness of black on black love. So when you engage with someone, you know at the root of it, there's a sense of black on black love because that's needed. My Nil, that's my dad's current wife, sorry. She said, I like black on black love, but you gotta do something more universal. I was like, nah, man, I need black on black love. I ain't gotta do nothing universal. So I got what I got. I don't need nobody else. Like, nah, what you talking about?
Yeah.
She said, okay. She said, all right, I'm just saying, might want to try something more universal. I was like, what's she talking about? Then, I forget how I came across it, but it was a friend of mine who posted a picture of it said create, and then the E had the DC flag. And so, okay, I like that bass line, or I like those trumpets. I like the E with the flag. All right. I'm just bopping around, and I was at work. I kept hearing my mom saying, yeah, you gotta do something more. I mean, you gotta expand and make it universal. All right, fine. Well, love DC. Or is it E in love? And then right then I just started going. So like I had a notebook where it's love DC, it's love Chicago, it's love Compton. So it's love from where you are. And from there you can realize we all united. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the genesis of the love, because Love Cities was the concept, but Love DC was first. Obviously that's the hometown.
Yeah.
But I went to Chicago next because my tennis partner, John, we went to Howard together. I knew of the Chicago flag. I knew it was similar. So from the business standpoint, I wanted to write that down, get it out. But then I went to different places. If I didn't have a connection to it, it wasn't in my purview in that time. But like love DC, love Compton, love Chicago. That's where the love came from. It came from my mom saying, do something that's more universal. And I was fighting against that. I thought black on black love is all, it still is all we need, but you know what I'm saying? From a business standpoint, you want to get more people to understand the brand and the concept. And then seeing that image of create, which is just speaking to you, it's delivered the word create. The E was the DC flag. I said, okay, how do I create with that? And then Love DC became the thing. And I remember launching it on Valentine's Day. Yeah.
What year? You remember?
Yeah, I think it's 2014. I want to say it's 2014.
Now, were you the first one to do the LOV and then that you saw out?
So here's the thing. From my perspective, yes, but no at the same time. Yes, in the sense when I looked, I researched it, Googled all I could, didn't see it. It's okay, yeah, this is it. It's locked in. Then like a week after I launched, I saw another company with a different design. Initially you think they copied, like it's impossible to copy it because they wouldn't know what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't publish the design until it was for sale, and you can't replicate it that fast. But theirs was different where they had solid, and for me the balance is a little different. But best I can say is into the creation and the publishing, I thought I was.
Okay.
Then you put it out in the air and you wait, hear if people gonna catch on. Then I saw another version. I was like, okay, yeah, but just to pride, like my design is, I think my design is stronger.
For sure.
But yeah.
Are people, because in my mind, it's so synonymous with DC that I get the feeling people would want to steal that joint. Are you catching that?
I don't mind that. I see it, I don't mind it. Like there was a company maybe during the pandemic that released it and I started getting tagged. Like, hey, you see this? I looked at it like, that's fine. I don't control the word love and I didn't create DC, right? And with most of the concepts that come through me, I realize that they come through me. So therefore anybody could tap in with the antenna, right? It's just a willingness to put, like I said, see it through. Did you bring it from, I have an idea that came to me, I feel like we could tweak it. How do you make it material? And if someone has gone through that journey, I'm not gonna really,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, because at the end, they may have done it from a capitalist standpoint, but if the message is love, why am I gonna stop love? That to me defeats the purpose. Propagate it.
Now, love, bro, is is a word that represents something like it can mean 50,000 things to 51,000 different people, right?
Yeah.
Has your relationship to love, just in general, as you, because you have a daughter, and you know, how old is your daughter?
She's 5.
5.
Yep.
So you've been a father for 5 years. That was 10 years into this 15-year honest tease endeavor. You know, you did the love thing before. You got the family. You got the pops. You've got all of this love around you. You've got to demonstrate it through action.
Yep.
Now you've got to go out and kind of figure out what it all means to you and how you want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
And it ain't something that I see a lot of black men moving with in that way.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I realized that my life was a blessing, bro. Like, the people that are around me interact with me with a basis of love. And I'm not sure if it's, well, I know it's through them wanting to do that, but I think I've hopefully done an okay job receiving it and then showing it with gratitude. Like, I have so many parent figures. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just called another father figure a couple days ago to express my love and tell him what he meant to me. So, and I think it's actually because I'm a child of divorce, therefore I'm a child of the village. So I'm going to visit my mom. She has friends who have children. And so I'm hanging out with their parents and seeing how you can be a father to a whole different family, how that works out. You know? My mom, then, I guess you would be adopted a whole other family, another child. And there was no resistance with me because I was just seeing love all around. So I was just seeing love all around. And I recognized, I had lived a very blessed life to be around all these people who have intention and pouring and loving in me. So that's always there. And I'm a lovey-dovey type of guy. Like, I was, writing poems. Everything boys go through. But love is big for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but now as I get older, I'm realizing that love is another way of saying justice. Like, love is the currency to get to justice. I do something with love because I don't want to harm you or I want to help you. And to me, through the work of Neely Fuller, his definition of justice is that no one is harmed and those who need the help receive the help. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's justice. And he aligns it with love. And like, that makes sense to me. So when I engage with anyone, like, I'm the guy who makes the male friends feel uncomfortable. I'm saying, I love you, bro. And they go, yeah, I love you too. That's me because that's what it is. Like, I'm not gonna dance around it. I don't like you. I love you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like playing Madden. I love you. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, why are we faking? So that's why I put it on people's shirts so they could just say it without saying it, really. That's another goal. But love is there. Like, love is the only thing that's gonna get us to where we need to go. Love is gonna make us universal man, universal woman. It's the act of love that produces justice. That's really what it is. And for me, that's the answer. Like, I don't really have to, it's just the answer for everything to me. Everything with the intention of doing good and in the pursuit of justice, you do it through love.
Most businesses fail within the first 5 years, I guess they say.
Yeah, they
right?
say that. I hear that a lot.
80%, whatever that,
Yeah.
You hit the 5-year mark. You hit the 10-year mark.
Yeah.
You got the 15 joint.
Yeah.
One of the things I heard you say in an interview that you did at your 10-year anniversary period, the guy asked you, what are some of the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome? And you said, myself.
Yeah.
My fear.
Yeah.
My doubt.
Yep.
That was a really honest and also aware answer, bro.
Yeah.
That I thought was really fucking dope.
Thank you.
And is it still you?
Yeah. Always is. I was thinking about that on the way over here. Because it's this rhythm, it's what I'm trying to figure out right now. There's nothing external. Because what external exists. It's how I interact with it. So, you know, play the hand you dealt. It's Pops again. You know, it's reason why we've lasted so long. I didn't know that we were supposed to do something different. You know, you face a problem, you solve it. Questions and answers. So, but also the intent is different too, right? It was never done with intention, okay, yeah, so we're gonna take over this market, we're gonna take over that market. Like I did it because I wanted to express myself, and I thought there might be a chance that other folks might get it too. Because it's always been in this pursuit of, I didn't know at the time, but it's all through my actions, is to create a community, which is what I heard you say you wanted to do. That's what the goal has always been. I didn't know that at the time. And then as you think about it, you go, oh, why is that? Oh, because you was raised by a village. So you're trying to produce another village. And for me, the best vehicle was through love. I remember telling a friend of mine, I said, when I released the love concept, I was like, can you imagine we go to a bar and everybody wearing their love shirts from where city they from? And so it's all of us together, but we can represent who we are through the act of love. He was like, yeah, like that's kind of what I want to do. So the goal wasn't, I sell 15,000 t-shirts, I can make this. It was always, how can we attract more? You know? How can we get more people how can we identify more people that think alike or that feel alike really? Because I don't want you to think like me. I do want you to feel like me though.
Yeah.
I need you to feel like me. I need you to feel like we see something that's a problem. We might solve it differently, but we both feel like we need to address it.
We know it's an issue.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's more like, I don't want you to think like me for no reason, because if you think like me, then we're not gonna grow. I need you to challenge me differently thinking, but I need your feelings and why you're doing it to be aligned, be in the same wave pattern. I probably veered away from your question.
Nah, you answered it. Because I think one of the things that I don't think people give themselves the opportunity to do is to grow into things, man. And because they don't have a clear picture of what the end result is, it's like this fear of moving forward or taking those first two steps.
Yes.
But if you have that tenacity, like what this is now is not what I intended it to be.
Right.
But I had, first off, bro, this is my 80th episode.
Salute to you.
You're here for the 80th joint. When I did 1, 2, 3, 40, 45, 50, I had to do all of those joints, man, just to figure out what I didn't like, what I liked, and then you get into like this rhythm of saying, okay, oh, this is how I want to communicate. This is how I want to connect. This is what I'm looking for. But I didn't know that in the beginning. I just knew I had to do this thing, and I just knew that I could not give up under any circumstances.
Exactly.
Under none.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing you say. Like you couldn't articulate that it was about community, but you knew it was about something specific that included these things.
Yeah. It's the upbringing. And I didn't recognize that when I would, visit Georgia and have a whole new family there, whole new name. Like in Georgia, if you call me by Kari, my middle name, I know where you're from. I know you know me through my mom, likely in Georgia. I didn't know that that's what's shaping me where, with my close-knit friends, I'm the one who plans the vacations. I plan the experiences, because that's literally what I'm seeking. Not in like a desperation, just my nature. Like I want to be around people I love all the time. Because it was fragmented, I'm like, well, how can I bring it all together? You know what I'm saying?
Why is community so important?
Because it's so important. You know what I'm saying? Like some things it is what it is. Like if I didn't have community, I wouldn't be who I am. If my dad didn't have trust in the folks who, kept me after hours because he was a single father, had to go pick me up after work, there was literally the daycare, Mrs. Kofer, I would go to her home after she shut down the nursery. Because she knew my father was late, he's an architect, drafting. Community. My mom saying, okay, he's gonna go to Shepherd next. Community. We were out-of-bound kids. I was out-of-bound kid. But they wanted me to be in that community. So it's just kind of like when you're in it as a fish in water, like you don't know what the water's doing, but you just know you gotta be around it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much how it is. I couldn't see myself being isolated. I needed to be, like my concept of the next goal for me is to either, well, not gonna be individual by no means, so be a part of a community that we build with like-minded people that understand and feel a certain way. That's why I want to thank you directly, because I heard you say when you were talking to Ryan, it was like, I want to build a community of I was like, that's exactly what this whole process is. That's what Made in Harriet is. That's what all these things, Made in Harriet came out later, because as you go along the journey, like, oh, that's what you're doing, okay. So it's never a price point, never a margin, it was a destination, a goal of, and right now the concept is called Harriet. It's a place of freedom and justice.
Now, it's dope to hear you, because I didn't grow up with that, but I arrived at the same destination as you, which I think is really interesting, because I think people can take different paths to get to the same conclusion, especially when you're being led by love. And when I ask you why is community so important, I was expecting a complicated answer, but that's because it's so important.
Because it's so important, bro.
And my answer would have been different,
yeah.
but that is the answer though.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, oh, because I didn't have it and no, I understand. Like, no.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Because it's important. It's everything. It's what we were taken from. Whether you believe in the transatlantic slave trade or you believe we were here first, whatever it is, it was destroyed. That's what they destroyed. They destroyed your connection. Connection to who? Your people, your unit, your cousins. They destroyed your community. Your community is where you get your language from. Your community is where you get how you negotiate with politics and people. They destroyed it. I don't care. Again, I don't care how you interpret the books. The end goal is we are from a community standpoint, we're pulled apart. But who we are, we develop a new one. Because that's what humans do.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other directly or intimately prior to this moment.
Yeah.
But we have friends in our community. So, oh yeah, y'all too, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's community.
Yeah.
Without that, we don't have this conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
facts.
That's why it's everything. It literally is everything. Like I have dreams about it. I have notebooks about it. What can we do in a certain situation? That's I didn't know that. You know it, but you don't know it. Like when it says honest propaganda, what's propaganda for? To get people to a certain message.
Yeah.
See who gets it.
Yep.
I just want honest propaganda, and we're gonna be walking billboards of positivity. Community didn't know it, couldn't express it.
Yeah.
I'm 25. I'm thinking we're gonna be cool and hanging out.
Yeah.
There's a journey that you're on to the benefit or to your benefit on behalf of those before you who sacrifice.
What does it mean to like you as a man to have kind of shifted your relationship to the narrative of honesties to where like you can actually communicate that in a very succinct way now? Yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, I smile because and this is random. So what was the topic? Oh, trust. We're gonna get there. I know we're gonna get there. So I thought, trust is action over time. So I felt confident in that definition. I said trust is actions over time. So I called up Pops. Like, Pops, I just figured out something. This is in the last 5 years. I'm not sure when. Might have been early pandemic. You just in the room thinking. I called him. I said, you know what, Dad? I think trust is actions plus time. He said, no, it's time. I was like, what do you mean, no, it's time? First off, can you first accept what I have shared with you? Let's review. He was like, no, it's time. It wasn't cold. It was kind of like, no, it's time. Like I said, he tells you what he thinks and and I was like, yeah. I was like, no. He said, no, son, it's time. I was like, nah, man. It's actions plus time. He said, okay, it's time. It took time. Nothing happens without time or the concept of. So the only reason I know I can express it right now is because through time. Couldn't do it 15 years ago. I didn't have enough time. Sure, you can add actions, you can add external factors, personal growth, but the root took time. So understanding that allows me to what I hope to do is better engage with other folks. Like, oh, okay, whatever your path, you don't see it the way I do, not that you have to, but maybe more time will allow you to. And I'm not saying my way is the only way to see it. It's definitely not the only way to see it. But the reason why we don't see it right now, different timelines. And there's nothing much I can do right now to change how another person feels in that time, because it takes time for them to either see it your way or see it another way.
Or for you, vice versa for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all time. Like, I know I've been ignorant. We all are ignorant. And I know I've been in a situation where I didn't know I was an ignorant one, and I'm professing what I think I know. And like, they was like, yeah, give them more time. This is time.
Do you give yourself time?
Have to. That's what I'm doing right now. And that's what kind of keeps it going, because I don't say I don't, you do, you definitely do. You have to give yourself time to recognize, why is there this urgency to do something? Like, wait a minute, why is there a need to compare, contrast myself with my brand to what others are doing when there's a different trajectory, a different goal? It takes time to say that. It takes time to believe that. It takes time to trust that, you know? For instance, it just takes time.
And I think for me, bro, it's all about the why. And one of the things that I really love, and when I asked you the question about how, like, your why feels firm, bro, and rooted, and maybe, you know, in such a way that allows you to do the next 15 in a way that might help you let go of certain things, and hold on to others better. But like that why helps you shift and be patient in ways that when you're not that firm in it over that period of time, you're
erratic. Sporadic. All that. It's so after 10 years when the future was born, and I wanted her, like, everything I've done, has been lesser, the best of my ability plan. Like, so and again, I think we're all connected, especially from lineage. My dad's an architect. You gotta identify the plot of land, take the measurements, envision what you want to place there, lay out the schematics. Does it make sense? Is it up to code? And then they build. It's not, put the brick right there, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna figure out where we're gonna put the rest. Like, no, you gotta take time. So I asked for my wife. I wanted a woman who da-da-da-da-da-da, and then time happens and you meet that person and okay. A thing I try not to do is go against the universe. Try not to. You do, and it teaches you when you do. But to the best of your ability, when it gives you something, appreciate it. I hope I'm getting to the point, but it's...
Nah, take your time, bro.
So I wanted a wife like the wife I have. That's a blessing. Then talking to her, she recognized with me, we both wanted the child we have. So now, I'm glad you said patience, because that's, me and my dad's word was honesty. Me and her word is patient. Because of who I want her to be, I want her to be the unifier. That's her code name, is the unifier. I'm not willing to be the unifier, because I still have issues with the system that I don't really want to just let go. Like, now we're not going to just be hunky-dory. So, but I do want that for her, though. So she has a impatience about love, which is beautiful, but it's counter to society. She'll walk up to anyone. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? My name is Lena. What's your name? What do you do? What do you do for, like, she'll ask you, but that's not how society works. Like, you just can't be in a grocery store, everyone that walks by you say hello to. You usually snatching these kids' backs, but that's her. So what my next objective is, oh, shit, you asked for her, you better structure this world around her so she can survive and be beautiful. The same way my parents structured the world around me so I can survive and be beautiful. So that's what makes me understand or have a direction and a goal for the next 10, because those are her milestone marks. It's the same thing, because we're replications of each other. Now it's in her physical form. And so my next objective is, how do I make a society that will allow her to blossom? Because the way she is right now, she wouldn't be able to without a lot of heartache, because she's so loving and so just, I don't want to say pure, because that's not the way I want to convey it, but She doesn't understand society, obviously, right? But I don't want to start dimming that light. So there's that balance of reality. And no, why can't she be that spirited person? You know, why can't she just directly tell you how she feels and come with emotion? You know, why is that something we have to correct?
How do you resolve that, bro?
You don't. I mean, with time. So I remember I sat back because let me know how you feel about this. So when children in general ask for something, at least from my experience, man, she'll identify what she wants. I want water. She'll just say water, or it was even better, music. So I'm learning and understanding what my dad did to me. He what's the word? Not groomed, curated my outlook, because it was nothing but jazz, funk, soul, classical, Kumo D, jazz. Like it was like just blips. Mm-hmm. But so I'm learning now, like, oh yeah, just play your playlist and that'll be her playlist, essentially what I'm trying to say. So she'll be grooving and be like louder. But in this society, it feels like a demand or something I have to correct her at how to appropriately request something. How do you say it nicely? Can you turn the volume up nicer, please? So I did that for a while. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing that? And this is my theory. I'm doing that because how they destroyed our community, when we communicate with them, we had to do it in a nice way to request things. So it's, how you gonna speak to me, boy, or whatever? Speak to me appropriately, how you supposed to. All she wants is the volume turned up.
Yeah.
I understand the command, and she's doing it in a way because she wants to hear it louder. Why would I then slow down and say, hey, excuse me, can you please turn up the volume? Thank you. Louder, Dad. You know me, I am you. You're playing this song because you wanted me to hear this.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm grooving to it, I want it louder. So I say all to say is that it just takes time to, okay, let's break that down, right? Let's do it this new way. And so that's where I am with this journey. It's beautiful, but it's a constant reflection. It's like, oh, what did I do wrong in that situation? How can I tweak it? And am I doing something because of society's, involvement, or something I naturally want to do? I don't want to have to make her repeat 7 words just to say louder. Yeah. But I think I have to because why? That's the unpacking is the part of this journey now. And it's also unpacking what the tools my parents had. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing too. Yeah. Facts. As you growing up, he's a superhero. They're like, oh, okay, Bruce Wayne. I see the struggles. Yeah. I see why you put the mask on. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. As you get us only through time. Didn't know it when I was 12. Didn't know when I was 20. Probably didn't know it till I'm either walking down the aisle or the baby's coming. I'm like, oh, I get it. And there were certain moments I would confront my parents. They were like, time. So that's what it is. It's like I said, the answer is time.
I think I've got a home girl. Mm-hmm. She has twin boys, mm-hmm. and she homeschooled them. Like they are very emotionally and culturally rooted. Mm-hmm. But the boxes that they played in as kids were big, bro. And she deliberately structured the environment that made the box as big as possible, yep. and as safe as possible. Right. And because her approach was, the world is going to do it to them anyway.
Exactly.
So even if you don't correct her now, as an example, mm-hmm. she will go out into the world, yep. and the world will say, you don't say it like that. Right. And then she would say, oh, okay. Because there will be, and this is like from my homegirl talking to, the world is going to do it for them. Right. The autocorrect in these particular ways. Mm-hmm. It's harder to go out than it is to come in when you're talking about these frameworks. Mm-hmm. So what I think is cool so she would like let her kids run up and down the metro, yep. when they wanted to play, because that's what they felt like doing. Yep. And jump up and down. It wasn't no, sit still, 100%. Don't move. 100%. But that was this is what the kid's natural disposition is.
Yep.
They're not hurting anybody.
Yep.
They're not bumping up anybody.
Yep.
Kids are being kids. Let the kids be kids.
Yes.
And they're not out of line now. They just turned 16. They, you know, they're very well-rounded kids, but she deliberately set it up for the boxes to be as big as possible. Because, and I'm only sharing that because I think that is something we're using the tools that our parents had. And it's a very uncomfortable thing, man, especially for black people. Respect is huge, bro.
Right.
And having a parent's respect, like, we don't play with that shit.
Exactly.
At all.
Yeah.
And we know what that means. And then, like, am I being a good parent if she's not being respectful to me?
Exactly.
What does respect even mean?
What is respect? The parents allowed that, they had that framework established. It was, and this thing is like, it was, like you said, like especially my father, it was like, yeah, you can go out, yeah. Okay, I understand what's out there. I'll tell you what's out there. I did it. Choose your destination. And typically I wouldn't even like, nah, I'm cool, I can chill at the crib. I say to say that, so what they, especially my birth mother, what she wanted to do, like she wanted me to be in a space, consistency, what she wanted, right? And my dad was like, consistency, yes, but understand the landscape you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then my, I don't want to give her a DC mom, her thing was, okay, so it's consistency, the lane you're in. She gave me the tips and tricks because she was younger. So she said, this is how you navigate. Like I knew how to navigate corporate world when I was in high school because she created a job for me and my friends to learn and acclimate. This was next up for y'all. Yeah, I know you're going to college, that's already given. And you come out of college, it's like this. This is how you act like you're busy. This is how you know what I'm saying? Navigate that world. So what I want to do for my daughter, what you just said about that wide, big boxes, is that now we've identified a space where she'll have consistency, she'll understand the landscape, but it's culture, it's centered from her culture.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that because I'm a DC public school child, right? So, you know, we do what we gotta do. We all there together because we all there together, but we're still dealing with the external factors. But they may not share that information with you because they have a cap on your ability. You know what I'm saying? Best or prejudice or whatever. So what the intention with Lena is to give her fresh ground, where it's like, yeah, you can do what you gotta do there. You can grow there. And that's just the evolution. That's always the evolution. Mm-hmm. And so my hope and what I have a vision for her is she's gonna raise her children within Harriet, where that's already the norm, right? She won't have to seek the school for her children. It'll be the school that's down the road. She won't have to seek where they get nourishment. It's an established ecosystem where that family is primarily made of chefs, because they all like to cook, so they cook for the village. Sure, we cook for ourselves, but we share what we do. But their intent is that, right? So it's all these different concepts, not new at all in, but just bringing it together so we can leverage it. So that's what I envision for her. And and with that, it's going to take no, I said how I said it. I was respectful to you. She's going to need to be able to be a unifier. And unifier is not all pieces, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, it's confrontation and stand on what you say. But you get that from that foundation.
One of the things my homegirl said too is she was like, I'm raising my son to challenge things. Mm-hmm. And I have to understand that as a parent, that I am going to be one of the things that they challenge.
100%.
And so she was real intentional about like how she was going to allow them to show up and what her reaction to a lot of it was. And so much of it was about managing like these preconceived ideas about how to parent and what it looks like and all of that, man. Because when you said your life is about, you know, it's intentional, like that's a powerful fucking thing, bro.
But what else is there?
I think sometimes we just
go with it.
We just
go.
Just go. Just go with it. We just and
well, why do we go with it? In your opinion?
Because I don't think that we have the discipline. We lack, one of the things we as a people lack,
do this.
bro,
I'm ready.
is discipline. And I don't think so like I could look across from you I could look across from my son and be like, I want him to be a Malcolm. But in order for me to instill the qualities and to teach the lessons that a Malcolm would need in order to be a Malcolm would require me as the parent to do some shit different. And I don't want to do nothing different to that degree.
Right.
I don't want to challenge these preconceived notions. I don't want to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to take them somewhere to a class or a lesson to do something like so. I'm just going to just wish for Malcolm but don't have any intentionality around building that. Not to say, now, if you feel like he's a Malcolm, right? Not to say he's a Martin and you're trying to make him a Malcolm.
Go ahead. They're all one and the same too, but go ahead.
But yes.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
But recognizing what the kid needs and what their natural disposition is, and then understanding as the parent that I've got to do a bunch of things differently.
When you say a Malcolm, what does that define?
The attitude, the demeanor, the language, the confrontational nature, the unapologetic spirit in a lot of ways.
So my response would be, or is, I would shift it. I don't think you want a Malcolm. I don't want a Malcolm for none of my children. And I'm not saying, let me understand what I'm saying. What it took to be Malcolm, no person should have to go through. To become Malcolm, no person should have to go through that. To end up as a person who will stand and believe in justice. At its root, that's what Malcolm was. We shouldn't have to have a person have to go through the dearth and the ills of this society to hopefully land in a prison system.
Yeah.
Then by chance, because your parents were fighting the Garvey night and you have a line and then you find Donald, you know what I'm saying? You have to go through all these steps, come out of that to then be able to speak about injustice. You can make if that's what I'm saying, what aspect of Malcolm do you need?
So your father instilled in you honesty, bro. He had to be an honest person.
What point in his life?
At the point in his life where he's demonstrating these things to you, where he's trying to instill them into.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking about my father. I thought you were talking about my father.
Yeah, your father.
Yeah.
So because he says, I want my son to be an honest person.
This is perfect. Go ahead.
So in order for my son to be an honest person, in order for me to instill the concept of honesty, I've got to embody that as a man.
Gotcha.
So I have to do things in an honest manner in order to communicate that.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say, so I can't, if I wanted you to be honest, but I'm not an honest father,
right,
then what's the expectation?
It's not gonna happen.
So when I said that, I think that one of the reasons why we just go off and just happenstance, we're not intentional because the intentionality requires us as the parent or as the adult to live a different lifestyle, to do things that we don't want to do. We default to the lowest parts of ourselves and then just wish the best for our kids.
I won't argue against that. But I will say to tie this. So there was a time my dad was doing. So my dad is has a master's degree in medical architecture, health studio design, and taught at Howard, all the accolades. But he also delivered Wall Street journals because he had to pay bills. And there was a time I went to academic high school, and so I would be up late doing homework. And when I was doing homework, he was leaving the house to go deliver papers. And probably the next day he had to go teach a class. And he also had, work he had to do for his drawings. I said, man, you're a better man than me. And he looked at me, he said, yeah, I know. But here's the thing. In order to make an Andre, you don't want to go through what Joseph had to go through. I don't want to have to go through what Joseph had to go through. Living on welfare, no father, fighting and surviving in Southeast DC. You see what I'm saying? So using the Malcolm comparison, you don't want the child to have to go through what Malcolm went through to end up with that perspective. nor do you have to. So to produce someone who visualizes the world through as best he can, honestly, and will speak and fight for justice, I didn't have to go through what Joseph went through.
But Joseph did.
But Joseph did.
And then Joseph had to embody it through his actions.
Exactly.
In the same way that you're saying, you're talking about making bigger boxes for your daughter, bro, despite how uncomfortable you feel when you do it.
You know what Joseph and Amanda had to do in Lenuta?
But that's what I'm saying. But
I have no excuse.
So
Go ahead.
But you're doing it.
Yeah.
There's some parents that don't. They want the big boxes for the babies.
Yeah.
They want the honesty for the kids, but they out doing all kind of wild shit.
But again, okay, I'm sorry. But that's not them. It's not them.
Who is it?
It's those that removed us from the community. It goes back to the root. We're intentionally distracted. We have to be distracted. It's not the individual's fault. No. The fault is, why is that substance promoted? I'm not speaking like I don't drink. I drink. You know what I'm saying? I don't act like it's a purity contest.
I got you.
What I'm saying is, why are the substances there in the first place? Why is the situation there in the first place? All those are root causes of the system that are pulling us from community.
So when you
They
say
have to though, because as soon as we find out we're a community, this whole game is over. And not on some revolutionary, but it's not in terms of like, let's go get the guns. It's, no, we think differently. We operate differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything we do is communal. Now they may call it something else, but in its root is community. That's who we are. So we have to be extracted from there. You got to pull out the quote unquote ones that can, as the society portrays it, has the means to, attract capital. You got to pull them out and leave them there and figure out what's going on. And then you position them against those that you've pulled up, and you've made the ones you pulled out think that, oh yeah, this is how life should be. No, it's not. No, it's not. You shouldn't be making millions and living in another community that don't have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
They'll call the cops on you as soon as you do something wrong. Take that money, build your another community. Bring your people. That's what you should do, in my opinion. But they can't allow that, because then it shatters everything. If the group of people who are the coolest people on the planet start doing other stuff that will be contrary to them, they're gonna make it cool.
Yeah.
The other folks gonna pick up on it. Oh, we don't have to live that way. We can live the way that they live. Because why? Because I'm using cool in the term that we all know about. You know what I'm saying?
Understood. Yeah.
But so that's why because I was at a moment where, so it was a friend. I'm sorry, that's how I rap.
Nah, you good, bro.
A brother asked, like, he's a brother of mine. He said, "Hey man, I'm volunteering with these kids." And I was like, I had to be mid to late 20s, and I said this stupid shit. He's like, "Yeah, I got some kids. Some brothers that need some, like a big bro, brick bro program." I'm like, "Nah, man, my life in this example." I to this day I'm mad at myself for saying this ignorant shit. I'm like, no, what I'm doing is good enough. You can be like, no, that's not how this works. You gotta talk to them. You gotta show them it's a way out. And so later in life, I got a program called Man Up that was local, and I got involved with there. But I never forget my first response to someone asking me to help out was like, "Nah, I'm living my life. They should see that shit." It was like, this is stupid, in my opinion. Because I thought it was as simple as, no, I had to recognize the fertile ground I had to be allowed to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not everybody has that. But I didn't know that till I went outside myself.
But the individual, this is one of the challenges I think we have as Black people, bro, because it's a part of it is systemic, and then a part of it is just the individual.
They're tied together.
They are, but so we took very different paths to make it here, right? Mine involved a bunch of negative situations, environmental, self-inflicted through the shit that I learned in the environment, blah, 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 blah. I can say now today, at 47, almost 47 years old, that the only person I hold responsible is me.
Yeah.
Even though they're connected.
Right.
Because I wasn't seeing myself in the way that I should. and seeing the value that I had for my people and for my community, and that despite whatever pressures and oppressions that exist within a Black person, we still have a responsibility to get up and show up in a way, and some of us just aren't doing that.
You just said that you didn't see your value within society.
Yes.
That person doesn't either. That person's not supposed to. Same thing with Malcolm. Differently with Martin, because he was raised differently. But Malcolm didn't know, I'm assuming, he didn't know the benefit he could have to folks if he changed how he operated within that spectrum. He thought you were supposed to be out hustling, doing the juke joints, things of that nature, because that was the society. So my question is challenge, why does society allow that certain system to be there? Or a certain situation, environment to be there? It has to.
It has to.
It has to, so for it to survive. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's definitely, and again, as an individual, you didn't know that throughout until you had time.
Yes.
That time span is society operating at its finest. It is doing a damn good job.
See, and you call the time, you were talking about it as it relates to trust, and I relate it to grace. I see like trust, I see grace as like a time thing, which a lot of us as Black people don't have or aren't afforded because our time is cut short.
Our time is controlled. Our time is controlled. That's why. It has to be controlled. Because if you give the average Black person 2 hours a piece to think, everything's changed.
Yeah.
Can't have time. Not supposed to have time. When the sun comes up, you out there in the fields. Sun go down, you still out there in the fields. You come home, you get to go home when I ring this bell. You control our time. Every aspect. My biggest thing right now, they control my time with that goddamn IG. I can't get off it.
Yeah.
Just scrolling.
Yeah.
That's how they occupy my time. I know it. They have to occupy your time.
So if it's a combination of society and the individual, which I do agree with, by the way.
Yeah, I know what you.
So
I'm with you.
Because the focus that I have when I'm talking to like a young brother somewhere, I have to look at him in the face and say, despite everything that's going on, bro, the power exists within to affect change. You have a purpose. You have value. You're needed in a way that you might not fully understand. And despite what's going on around you, despite your mom wilding, despite your dad not being there, despite whatever the fuck it is, you gotta figure out a way to persist. Because that's the only thing I feel will get him out, because society isn't going to do it. But he still has to do it though, despite.
Right.
And I don't know how we balance that, because when you're talking to a young cat or anybody who's still in it.
Right.
And I didn't have people, like when I was in it, I didn't have people like interacting in that way. I wish I had. I probably still would have made the decisions that I made, but because I needed time.
And the other folks needed time too, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing also. That's why I say it's society. Or this is what I'm gonna call it, it's a system of white supremacy. You're not afforded time. So you have friends that love you that probably just didn't have time. Let me call her James. Let me speak to James. They pull him to the side. I don't have time, I gotta go pay my bills.
Yeah.
It's time. It's control of time, the usage of time. That's labor. Labor is time in action. They control that. And it's recognizing that and giving grace to that. Like I said earlier, like it's, with this brothers, I'm still in communication now, is like, I don't have the time that I would love to be there to help that brother. Like he needs to be helped. The only thing I can do right now is trade what I get from my time and pass it to him through money. Only time I have now for that individual is the thing that I get paid for my time from 9 to 5 is to give him a hope. Hopefully that buys him a little more time. But if we had the time to sit there to care and talk to them, that's all we need. And what that action is love, which the goal is justice. This place not a justice. This place not built on justice.
Not at all.
So it's not gonna give you the time to do that. Time, love, and justice. We don't have it.
What is this Harriet thing you keep mentioning?
Harriet is the template for the establishing communities. So my 9 to 5 as a project manager, portfolio manager, what have you, I take the products you sold to the government and I help implement those projects. That's my job, right?
Gotcha.
That's my mindset.
So you like PMP and all that?
I can't put it on record, but yeah.
I got you. My bad.
No, we good. No, we good. Trust me, I'm here. I am where I am. Help me out for a second. Make sure I'm on the same path. So with project management, you have templates, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I want to create is a template of what does community look like? What elements does it have? What's the operation fact? What are the SOPs? How do you resolve conflict? Again, nothing that me, the individual, creating, just identifying as his journey. Oh, Amos Wilson said do this, cool. Lily Fuller said do that, cool.
Codes.
The code. It's developing the code. And so, again, back to kind of pulling in from the love perspective, like, oh, someone else did a love DC after we did ours or whatever. I'm not gonna fight that. Same way as someone say, oh, I heard his idea about Harriet, I wanna create it. Please do so. Please do so. Please take the template or the idea, whatever this concept is, and run with it. And so just to directly answer your question, Married to Harriet is the next project. It's developing a community, and it was because of this child named Lena who said, hey, brother, this world ain't right. You see my spirit, it don't settle well in the way it is, so go create me a fertile ground that I can thrive and be emboldened and love to confront and continue the battle, continue the war, But it's a multitude of things. It's also a mindset that when you make this product, the design came from a black guy, the execution of the design came from a brown guy, the person who put the design on it was a black woman. So at every possible aspect, it's made by someone who, the quote would be a victim of white supremacy. That's exactly its intent. That the concept, as much as because we don't own the construction or the production of it, but as best we can, it is done with that intent. And the messaging and the themes and the quality are for justice. It's not you're going to get what you paid for, if not more, because it's not about that. I want you to be able to wear this shirt or whatever product we deliver, and it becomes your favorite piece. And because there's a lot more than just, does it fit the climate that I'm in right now? No, all types of climate. Does it fit the social climate that I'm in? Does it fit, you know what I'm saying? Like it's bigger, it's a message and it's a destination and it's a goal and it's made in Harriet. And then for me, cause I have like a lot of ideas, and one of my closest friends, he said, he said a long time ago, he actually forgot. He didn't forget, he said he didn't know what it meant to me when he said it, but he said, when you write things down, you pretty much do it. I was like, okay. So this is just me writing it down. I can't avoid it. Is there a website? There's a website, I've got the domain, but it's not built out. Is there a city? No, not yet. But I had to write it down. So I have a couple books called Made in Harriet, And it's just ideas and how we can operate. But that's the next goal. I wanted to make beats, so me and Lee made beats. I wanted to make t-shirts so I could be in Complex Mag on both sides. I want to be on the fashion side and the music side. Did that. So doing that for the brand. But the end goal is a community. I want to get to a place, because this is kind of where this kind of started too for me. Love football my life, and I had to step away when the height of the hypocrisy with the Kaepernick thing. That's what, like, oh, whoa, wait. You know what I'm saying? I would love in the future, no one draft pick, they still doing draft, because that's another concept to talk about. But whenever someone comes into whatever the monetary or how we, keep score, I'm going to Harriet. And I'm taking my family with me. I want them to say that. I want people to say, I'm going to Harriet. Like whatever I achieve, I'm fighting for whatever it is. It could be a degree, it could be you want to own, barbershops, whatever your pursuit is. I want your goal to be Harriet too. It doesn't have to be how my Harriet is, but a place of freedom and justice with peace. That's what Harriet is. And we don't have, there's probably pockets that aren't known, but I think it should be known.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be known. So if there are cities out there that, please talk your shit about your Harriet. Don't hide it. I get why you hide it. I know why you hide it. Because they're going to come for you. They are. Talk your shit. If you pulled off a community where you can raise your children, they see their reflection, they know who they are, they know what they're up against, and they're still around love, and they have time, please talk your shit about Harriet, please. Because I'm going to. I'm going to. When we establish it, it's like, yeah, we do this. Oh yeah, Badu coming next week. We got, like, everything is structured differently in this space. Like this 7-day thing is not really a thing.
Yeah.
It's 10-day cycles, 3 of those days you work in service of the people. Another 3 days you work for yourself. And then 4 days you continue to tap with the community. You have time. Shifting everything. These are all things that just need to be broken down, destroyed, and rebuilt again. Not even rebuilt again, that applies, needs to be built in the community. So that's what it is. It's everything. It's the same thing we said, what's community? It's everything. It literally is everything. It's how I communicate with you. It's how people communicate with me. It's how you interact with my people when I'm not around. Because you understand it, and it's equal in our respect to one another. I had a conversation at the barbershop. There was a brother who, we understand the landscape of this place, this global place. And his objective is to not work within it, but kind of in the same space, like thrive in it. And I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. There's no thriving in it. Gotta destroy it. And the little example I gave, respect Issa, it's all love. He had his bike outside the barbershop. And we were talking, he said, oh, 1 second. Let me get my bike and bring it in. I said, that's exactly the point. He said, what do you mean? I said, why'd you have to bring your bike in? He said, because, motherfuckers steal. Like, why do they steal? I want to live in a place where you put the bike outside. Not only will nobody mess with it if they want to, but if someone does, you understand because it's a community bike. Yeah. It's a bike.
It's a bike.
It's a goddamn bike. But we live inside with possessive of material because we don't have much, so we want to protect the things we do acquire. That's the unpacking there, the layers there. If I want to strive to, like, it's everything. It's everywhere, That's what Harriet is. Harriet is like freedom. And that's why I was named after her, but it's that concept, because even when you start naming Harriet, and then you get a question about, is that true? Like, no, it's the concept, folks. Yeah. It's just the concept. When I say Harriet, you understand what that pursuit was, and what that goal was, and what it was surrounding. So that's why it's named after Harriet.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's the easiest way to get people to understand what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you an image immediately pops up.
Exactly.
Too.
Exactly.
It's not just a word.
And that takes time, because if you ask me to describe it, I was like, yeah, it's called such and such. Like, nah, Made in Harriet. And why was it called Made in Harriet? Because I was bucking up against the Made in DC thing. That's the real thing. It's, hey, we represent the district and we kind of want to use your ideas. Cool, no problem, let's talk about it. You're in a room, nobody's from DC. It's like, where are you from? Here, there. Well, what we're doing is representative of DC. Yeah, I'm one of two from here. I'm not saying you have to be here to understand here, but it would help.
It would show would.
And so they would take the concepts and say, made in DC, and da-da-da-da. It's like, y'all all transplants. Not all, most of y'all are. You like the idea, but you don't know about Naylor Road. You don't know about Riggs Road. You know about Park Road, but what side of Park Road do you know about?
Is that where the concept of native came in?
Exactly. That's exactly where native came from. You hit it right on the head. We were going to South by Southwest, and they wanted to take the Love DC. That's fine, cool. They wanted to use different colors. Like, okay, that's fine, no problem. And so me and my homeboy, he flew in from Seattle, and I had made the DC Native t-shirts. I said, when they go to the festival, they'll all be wearing the DC, Love DC, but we'll be wearing DC Native. And we did that. And that's when I dropped it, is because it was like, I get you love it, but you don't understand the natives that lived it.
And why you love it might not necessarily, it might be more exploitative or not really honoring and paying homage to why you love it.
Yeah. Because the same folks that say they love, not in respect to my fellow natives, and they know the same people that may say, yeah, they love DC, will call our former mayor a crackhead. It's like, you understand what was going on.
Yeah.
You definitely understand what Marion Barry did for the city.
Dude, I didn't understand so I'm originally from Kansas City.
No question.
I moved here to the area when I was 19. So that was almost 30, but I spent most of my time in Virginia. I wasn't connected to DC. I moved to DC 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, but I'm way past all that Marion Barry time, and I didn't understand just what that brother meant to this community. I don't think a lot of people outside of DC know just how impactful he is.
They don't.
But they eat off of it. Like there are people whose grandkids are going to eat off of the work that brother did and the way he set this city up.
Yep.
And he was black and unapologetic, dashiki, fro.
Another sense of community. There's a place used to be called Faces on Georgia Avenue. My dad's like, in his circle, that was a water hole, right? I didn't realize that the impact that Barry had on the city through my dad was that if there was a big project in the city, he's giving it to black architects. Like, there was black architectural firms. My dad worked for one of them. And so they got the projects. The same thing Maynard Jackson did in Atlanta, is that sense of community and building. And that's all I knew. I knew to go to Faces. I would see all the players that, made the moves in DC. It was community, that's their hub, right? And so it's always been a sense of community for me. And that's what the pursuit. I want to establish a new Faces where, the elders get together and plot out how they're going to control and navigate the future. And they start bringing in the young folks that understand the ways of the game. So it's all about community. And that DC native was just because I felt exploited. I didn't expect value. And so I have a new concept I'm gonna release because May 20th is Natives Day. I have a new concept. I'm gonna just do a light, just for me, just print them out, see if people like it. But it's speaking to it because it's not even hybrid. At this point, they don't even care.
They don't?
They don't care about what the fabric of the city once was. And like I'm saying, like at this point, like before, it felt like if you were a transplant DC, you had to respect certain elements of it. Like, you just had to navigate with some regard of the locals. Now they don't have to. They don't have to. They can get to point A to point B, point C without interacting with the city at all.
You can ignore it all.
Yeah, like you could it's more spots for them to just live this new DC life. And so that also led to the Harry because I had to love my city, but not feel tied to my city. And that took a lot. Still takes a lot. Like it took me a lot to move to Hyattsville, which is like next door. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? My license is gonna change, my task gonna change. It's like, yeah, but you establish where home is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You wanna build a whole new place. I love the city, respect the city.
How do you protect your brand, bro? And I understand the openness of your effort and like but when you said you felt, what was the word you said? You felt exploited?
Yeah, that was with that one time with them. But that's because what they wanted from me and I gave them wasn't a fair exchange. And I'm not talking monetary, I'm just talking about the love.
I got you.
Yeah, they weren't receptive to certain things. Like, this is what DC is and this is how we don't, it's kind of like, no, we like that, package it up, that's gonna represent the city. Like, what? That type of stuff.
Okay.
In terms of protecting the brand, I think it's because I am not the businessman. Because in that way, you have to compromise certain things for it to expand if you want to go in that way, right? And then the more people that have a voice, the original voice is diluted. That's the best way I can say that. It's just that because I'm not profit margin focused, I'm allowed to just release when I want to, appreciate, and I can, because like each person that gets it gets a handwritten note. Like in order to expand, that's one element that has to be removed of it. I'm not really ready to relinquish that because that connection means that, hey, thank you for supporting this endeavor, right? And I want you to know that this is bigger than just commerce. And so you gotta weigh that. you know? And I think that's helps protect it by keeping it insular in that regard. Because the intent is like, again, it's for Harriet, it's for a community.
Do you feel you get love?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
From the city, from like not the city.
I'm
like
with you.
The people.
Everyone I interact, I exchange love with.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what happens when I'm not around, but when I engage with people, it's always through love. That's how I'm leading it. You know, I definitely will pivot away if I feel like if I can't myself express true love, I'm not gonna fake it. I'm not gonna just be like, hey, what's happening? And nah, it's love. And cause I just like you said, like it's too much, there's too many distractions. Why would I waste time with a place that's not love? So I feel I get love because I interact with those that love me because I love them. And also, if I may add, feeling secure in that protects me in a certain way, right? Because I'm not seeking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that regard, I don't find myself in spaces. Plus, I'm dad. I ain't got time to be outside anyway.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I get love when I do go outside. It's a love endeavor. Yeah.
So Harriet is next.
Harriet is now.
I like that.
Harriet is now. Like everything is Harriet. Harriet's been there the whole time. The name, but no, it's been there the whole time. I just didn't have a name for it. Yeah, but it's next in terms of the next goal, the next vision I see is establishing a community where, I don't know, it could be Mississippi, it could be North Carolina, it could be Maryland. Probably won't be in DC because ain't no room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Room and resources. So.
Man, I am so glad I got a chance, brother, to have a conversation with you. A lot of what you're describing is kind of like felt in your like the pictures and the Instagram and the stuff that you're doing, but like to really hear it communicated in the way that you are, man, and the energy and the passion and the focus on the community really brings that home for me as a person. And I hope that people watching, connect with that. It'd be impossible for them not to, because it's palatable, like what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's really like that why, brother, is everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
It's everything. It's wife, child, family, and then us will get me to tears. Like I'll see something and I'm like, damn, it shouldn't be that way. It'll move me to think of something. Cause that's freedom is my focus. And what I'm trying to do now in this position is like, how do I get better at executing the messages and the designs to communicate that? But then there's also this balance of, I don't want to come across as this is the right way. No. I'm not saying that. But there are like the reason why this one concept came is because just in my opinion, too many factions of us fighting for a smaller group of us. Like, I don't even want to mention nigga, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, well, y'all could work together and accomplish the goal for all. And I'm not sure if and I honestly think it's because we not ready to confront the real battle. So
None of us do.
We all, like, you ain't doing it right over there. Do it like, bro, the battle's still there. The system's still looking at you. So we confront and act like, nah, I got the right way and your way is wrong and here's why your way is wrong. Excuse me. Let's turn the trajectory. Because we got to replace this whole system with justice. Until we do that, nothing's going to change. Nothing will change as long as the system of white supremacy exists. And I really, I can't, everything I interact with, I see it at the root, Can't even enjoy sports because of it. The escapes that they allow us to enjoy are now even becoming even more apparent of the hypocrisy within it. It's always been there, but so that's what keeps me thinking, keeps me going, is how do I convince good enough people to move to a place so that our children can live free.
I think you're, man, I kind of have this motto that if you're living it's like your dad, bro. You are these things. They're not just things you're talking about. They are you.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that and then moving with love, dog.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I feel we're trying to fight is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we come across people, because we're so sick, not everybody wants to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
They just,
Right.
they want to keep drinking the poison.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep thinking the poison, whatever. And that's cool too. But I guess on these universal, larger principles of things, the way we move, the way we love, the way we forgive, the patience we extend people, and all
grace.
of that, the grace. These are elements that I feel erodes some of this shit that we're talking about fighting. Everybody just don't want to go at the system and just run up to it. That's a short-lived
Experience.
You're not gonna be around that long. But there's a way in which you can fight it and erode it at its core.
Yep.
Because the world that I think that you and I both want to live in, bro, we're not gonna live in that world. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a. We're vitally responsible for creating the conditions that world will be built on brick by brick.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean we don't get to not do our part though, just
Right.
because we won't live in it.
Right. 100%.
You know what I mean?
It's our responsibility.
It's our responsibility. It's our purpose to do this in this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Lena's kids might, but everybody's got a part to play. Your dad had a part. Like even like the shit was laid for us before we even knew.
Right.
Like these people were instilling this shit of that we're gonna take and remix and grow and build. Man, it's an exciting. I'm glad I got to know you, dog, because I'm telling you, this love shit is what I feel is gonna change the world. That don't mean you get taken advantage of. That don't mean you can't knock a motherfucker out. That don't mean you can't get a pistol and let off a few when somebody try and come fuck with you. Like all of those things can be done with love. You can forgive with love. You can chastise with love, but it's got to be genuine. I feel it can't.
Love is only genuine.
Otherwise, it ain't love.
It ain't love.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's clean.
Yeah.
That's clean.
Yeah. It has to be genuine.
We